Hey everyone, and the longest word in English language is pneumono-ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis, which refers to a lung disease. It's a really long word and it's also a cool word, and in this video we're gonna talk about some really cool words in English. A cool word can be anything, a word which has a special meaning or origin or some unique property behind it, like the word swims. Swims will still be swims even if turned upside down. Such words which retain meaning even when seen from a different perspective are called ambigrams. Mom is a classic example of an ambigram. When turned upside down, mom becomes wow. Or the word silent. If you rearrange the letters of the word silent, you will form listen. Words which form other words upon the rearrangement of its letters are called anagrams. For example, rearranging Madame Curie forms radium came. Rearranging William Shakespeare forms I am a weakish speller. Words are the very atomic methods of communication. An average human speaks about 10,000 words a day. In fact, there exist more than 250,000 words in the Oxford English Dictionary. We've been constantly creating new words and changing their meanings. For example, in the 14th century, the word nice would have meant something which is foolish or silly. Silly, on the other hand, would have meant something which is lucky or gifted. These words are cool considering their special history. But what is cool? Cool is not 0 Kelvin, that's cold. Cool is something which is neither too hot nor too cold, something which is just right. It's also a word for calmness or composure. Keep your cool. But the most used meaning of the word cool is fashionable or attractive, and that's because of the jazz music from the 1940s. When the air in the smoke-filled nightclubs of the era became unbreathable, windows and doors were opened to let the cool air in. By analogy, the slow and smooth style of jazz became popular as cool. In fact, jazz was so cool that it was declared the word of the 20th century by the American Dialect Society. Started in 1971, this society chooses the word of the year based on votes from independent linguistics. Words like web, mother of all, Y2K, 9/11, Bluetooth or YOLO have all made up to that list. And of course, you cannot miss out FOMO, the fear of missing out. But these words are popular because they are so extensively used on the internet. That doesn't mean they are cool. Coolestwords.com lists all the cool words from the internet and ranks them by user ratings. At present, the coolest word is defenestration, and it means throwing someone out of the window. But there also exist huge, notorious words like hippopotomonstrosquipedaliophobia, which quite ironically means the fear of long words. Such words which defy their own meanings are called heterological, like the word misspelled. Misspelled is correctly spelled. Or big. Big is a small word. And contrary to heterological words are homological words, such words which define their own meaning, like the word common. Common is pretty common. Or English. English is a word in English. Or unhyphenated. Unhyphenated is unhyphenated. On the other hand, a fantonym is a word which seems to mean something but actually means something else, like the word noisome. You would think noisome means something which is noisy, but actually it means something which is really smelly. But why should you know so many words? What's the point of creating a good vocabulary? Johnson O'Connor's 20-year research concluded that a person's vocabulary level was the best single measure of predicting occupational success in every field. But having a big vocabulary is not the same as being cool. People crave being cool. Not only teenagers, but adults also seek attention. About 2 to 3% of people in the world suffer from histrionic personality disorder, a disorder characterized by a pattern of excessive attention-seeking emotions. Speaking of emotions, the word drunk has more than 3,000 synonyms in English language, which means you can get drunk every day for about 9 years and still call yourself with a different adjective. But if you spell the word drunk backwards, it will read knerd. Knerd. Nerd. That's how the word nerd originated. In the 1960s, the people who partied a lot were called drunks, but the people who didn't party, who were studying instead, were called nerds. You probably didn't see that coming. Words which can be represented using simple letters are called grammograms. Words like Y, T, Q, QT are easier to type, and this is why they are preferred in chatting. Typewriter is also a cool word. Typewriter can be typed using only the top row keys of the keyboard. That must be startling. Startling. Startling is one of those unique words which forms a new word every time you remove a letter from it. It goes like this: startling, starting, staring, string, sting, sing, sin, in, I. But a cool word could also be just another simple word which has a lot of meanings, like the word run. Run has the most number of definitions, having a total of 179 meanings. Set is also such a word which is tiny but has a total of 119 meanings. I always knew size didn't matter. I rather not master date or go out on a movie alone. Using words like master date, asshole, selfish, instead of their other infamous counterparts, are called egg god. But my favorite kind of words are palindromes. Words like madam, level, or rotator, which read the same even when spelled backwards, are called palindromes. But interestingly, palindrome is not a palindrome. If you read the word palindrome backwards, it becomes immordnilap. Immordnilap is a word which when spelled backwards becomes a new word, like the word deserts. If you read the word deserts backwards, it becomes stressed. Palindrome is an immordnilap. Immordnilap also is an immordnilap, which, if you would recall, would make it a homological word, something which defines its own meaning. English is a crazy language. Quicksand works slowly, boxing rings are square, noses can run, and feet can smell. English has been extracted from other languages and has been thoroughly changed over time. For example, around 400 years ago, the statement "please subscribe" would have been said as "Prithee subscribe." English is constantly changing and no one knows what it would sound like 100 years hence. How would abbreviations or emoticons change our language? But change will always be there. Change is inevitable. Change is the only constant. And, as always, thank you for watching.